How's it going, and welcome back to another episode of Mood for Feud. I'm your host Katya, and today I am in the mood for news. We are going to discuss the latest trending topics from the last couple of weeks. Well, maybe more from the last month. I haven't done a Mood for News episode in a hot minute, so there are a couple of stories in here that might be a little bit more old news, but we are going to talk about Sydney Sweeney's controversial ad with American Eagle, Demi Lovato being in their comeback era, Doja Cat patching things up with a fan that she used to have beef with, and more. Remember, if you enjoy the show and would like to support it, then please do leave a rating. You can leave comments on Spotify, written reviews on Apple Podcast, and you can follow the show so you never miss an episode. I'm also on socials at Mood for Feud, and I'm always looking to chat pop culture, so send me a message there. Okay, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for being patient with me. I have had such a weird recording schedule lately. Like, look at this. This is coming out in the middle of the fucking week. I don't know what's been going on. I've just been struggling to keep up with my podcasting workload the last couple of weeks, and I am actively trying to get things back on track. I promise you, we've had late episodes, we've had missed episodes, we've had everything. So first of all, thank you so much for being patient. Thank you also to all of the new listeners who have joined the Mood for Feud family in the last month. I really, really do appreciate you. And sorry that you joined at such a hectic time in my release schedule. I'm very sorry. But I do want to reiterate that despite my flaky schedule, I do still have a lot of energy for this show. There's a lot that I want to do with it. And so do not fear, I'm not going anywhere. Mood for Feud is going strong and is going to continue. The next Feud episode that I'm going to put out is a part 3 to the Diddy episodes. So if you haven't checked out part 1 and 2, that is some recommended listening for you. I think those episodes came out at the end of 2024, but I'll also have them linked in the show notes when part 3 comes out. And then another upcoming episode is I'm really hoping to record again with Michaela. We covered the Shelby Shearer and Sofa Dofa mug drama way back in 2023, I think that was, and we're planning to give a little update on that because somehow these two have been in the Australian headlines again. And I've also got a couple of podcasters that I'm really excited to reach out to and sort out some guesting opportunities. So all that to say, Mood for Feud isn't going anywhere, even though I've been so flaky, and I am really, really hoping to get back on track, and I am slowly making progress towards doing that. Okay, let's jump into our first trending topic, which is of course the Sydney Sweeney jeans ad. You knew I had to talk about this. I know everyone's already been talking about it. You've probably already heard 10 other podcasts covering this, but I have to give my 2 cents on it as well. First of all, I feel like there has been so much buzz around Sydney Sweeney lately. And I mean, there's kind of been a lot of buzz around Sydney for the last 2 to 3 years, but specifically this year, I don't know about you, I feel like I've been seeing this woman everywhere. And you know, she has been very open about being a hustler. She doesn't say no to a brand deal. So if you walk into a department store, you're going to see her face multiple times promoting multiple different brands. She attended the infamous Bezos wedding earlier this year. She also had a split with her fiance, which was maybe for the best. They did start dating when Sydney was quite young, and they are an age gap relationship. She had the scandalous dating rumors with Glenn Powell. Then she came out with soap that allegedly contained her bathwater, and people were like, is this feminist or is this anti-feminist? It's hard to tell. But she's also been romantically linked to so many different people just in the last month. Like, there's rumors of her dating Tom Brady, Orlando Bloom after he split with Katy Perry, and then most recently she was rumored to be dating Machine Gun Kelly. I think all 3 of those people have squashed the rumors, but it is just weird that a man isn't able to walk next to Sydney Sweeney without the next day there being headlines about them dating. And it also kind of feels like a lot of bachelors, or a lot of men who are famously single, are suddenly being spotted with her. And I don't know, I'm torn on whether this is a smart or a bad business move from her. Just this whole thing, right? Like the bathwater soap, the taking on every single brand deal, the Bezos wedding. I think she's going to partner with Amazon to do a lingerie line. I might be making that up, but I swear I saw that in a headline. All this to say, she's kind of been inescapable lately. And I get that she needs to hustle. I get that she, has been open about celebrities not making as much money as you would think they do, because they have to, anytime they get paid, some of that will go to their management, some of that will go to security that they have to hire because they can't just walk around like everyday people, and then of course their home security as well. I get that. I get all of that. I don't know, is there a point where it's a little bit too much? Like, is there a point where it's like, well, maybe don't buy a massive home in LA and save yourself that mortgage, and then you don't have to take on every single brand deal that approaches you, and then maybe you wouldn't be in this American Eagle mess. Anyway, let's talk about it. So this all took place in late July when American Eagle puts out this ad with Sydney Sweeney, which immediately copped some controversy because people felt like it had eugenics or Nazi ideology behind the copy, behind the wording of the ad. Now, when I first saw these headlines, I'll admit I was skeptical. I was like, oh, really? American Eagle? I always kind of saw them as like an inclusive brand. I feel like they did an inclusive ad not that long ago, and in my mind they were like a quote unquote safe brand, whatever. And I was like, maybe people are reading into things, because that does happen, and then the internet machine starts turning and then everyone starts freaking out over nothing. So I was extremely skeptical. Then I went and watched the ad and I was like, oh no, this is not okay. So actually the first one that I watched, because they had a couple of different ads, the first one I watched was just the one where she's like walking around and she's like, I'm not gonna tell you to buy these jeans. I'm not gonna tell you they make my ass look good. That one. That one's weird, but I was like, I don't understand. I don't see the Nazi stuff in here. Like, what's going on? Then I watched the second one, which is, the one that people were actually talking about, where they have this play on the words jeans that you wear, the pants, and genes, your genetic makeup. And, I'll play the clip, but we do get that line of her saying, genes are passed down from parents to offspring, in this really weird cursive voice, might I add. I have no idea why she decided to go with that voice. That cannot be her normal speaking voice. I've refused to believe that this is how she talks. But, in a clip where you're playing yourself, why would you choose to speak like... Anyway, I'll play the clip.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has great genes.
Yeah, so it ends in that tagline, Sydney Sweeney has great genes. Now, a couple of things that stood out to me when I watched this the first time. First of all, the fixation on genes and them being something that parents, that get passed down from parents to offspring, determining traits like hair and eye color, which obviously Sydney Sweeney's hair and eye color are very Aryan, right? Like they are. She's blonde hair, blue eyes. That's not her fault, but that's nobody's fault. I love people who have those features, can I just say? But, that coupled with this intense focus on genetics, it was just kind of giving me the icky vibes. The thing that I found the most problematic though was the line where she says that genes can determine personality. This to me is a crazy statement to make. Number one, because I feel like that's not true. Well, actually, I think I know that that's not true. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like personality is like learned behavior and a response to the environment you grow up in. I don't think you get that trait like passed down. And the reason I found this so problematic is because it instantly made me think of really problematic research from, many years ago. But there was a case in New Zealand where white scientists were trying to prove or trying to find this aggressor gene, right? This gene that makes people aggressive, and the population that they were trying to find it in were Maori people. So the indigenous people of New Zealand, of Aotearoa, which is a hugely problematic study, right? And like makes my blood boil. But that was a group of scientists trying to prove that there was some kind of personality trait that could get passed down. And I mean, the ramifications of trying to scientifically justify that one group of people is more likely to be aggressive compared to white people. I mean, like that in itself is so disgusting. So when she's like often determining traits like personality, that's immediately where my mind went, and I just thought, this ad is giving me the frickin' heebie-jeebies. And of course it ends with her saying, my jeans are blue, and the camera stills on her face with her big blue eyes and her blonde hair and pale skin. Again, it's not like any of those things in isolation that make this a problem. It's like all of these things together, right? Like if they just had a campaign making a little joke between jeans and jeans, but it was a different person, you know, they had diverse people featuring in the ad, it wouldn't be problematic. If it was just a jeans ad with Sydney Sweeney and they didn't talk about genetics, it wouldn't be problematic. But it's the combination of all of these things together, as well as this emphasis on her eyes, on her face, on her features, and again that line about personality, that's where I was like, you know what, this isn't people overreacting, this isn't people blowing things out of proportion, like this is actually just eugenics and Nazi ideology at the heart of it, at its core. You know, a lot of people were quick to point out that they were actually riffing off of a Calvin Klein ad from the 80s, which featured Brooke Shields. And I get that, but even if you're riffing or parodying a former ad, you kind of have to take a look at the current political climate that you're putting this ad out in and think about that wider context, because these ads don't get generated in isolation. Not to mention that that Calvin Klein ad with Brooke Shields was already controversial as well, because she was like 15 years old at the time and being disgustingly sexualized in the media and also by her own mother, which I feel like we're going to talk about in a Mummy Dearest episode at some point. Now, of course, some people felt like this was just the left hating on a pretty woman, or, you know, oh, women aren't allowed to be hot anymore, women aren't allowed to have big boobs. It's not about any of that. As I mentioned, if it was just a jeans ad with Sydney Sweeney without this weird hyperfixation on her specific genetic makeup, then it would have been fine. I've also seen, of course, the classic it's not that deep mentality. If you do fall into that camp where you're like, oh, I'm not sure, I feel like people are overreacting, but you're interested to find out more than what I can give you in this little bonus episode, there are 2 episodes that I would heavily recommend listening to. They're by the podcast Fluently Forward, which is one of my absolute favorites, and Shannon, the host, has put out 2 episodes, one titled Pop Culture Is That Deep, and then another one titled Why Donald Trump Loves Sydney Sweeney's Great Genes, and both of those came out this month, I think, so they should be somewhere near the top if you go to that podcast. And I think she just does a really good job of breaking down why it is important to think about this ad in its wider context and not just sort of view it in isolation. Now, American Eagles did put out a statement to defend their ad. They said, Sydney Sweeney has great genes, is and always was about the genes. Her genes, her story. We'll continue to celebrate how everyone wears their American Eagle jeans with confidence their way. Great jeans look good on everyone. That's awesome. I totally agree. You know, everyone has a story. Great jeans look good on everyone. But that's not what the ad was giving me at all. It wasn't about the collective. It was just about Sydney Sweeney. Anywho. Now, as all of this controversy about this ad is bubbling up, it is also revealed that Sydney is a registered Republican, which, to be honest, was not that shocking to me. Actually, I think it wasn't shocking for many people, because she kind of has been given off those vibes a little bit lately. And, you know, there was that controversial birthday party that she threw for her mum, where a lot of family members were wearing hats saying make 60 great again, and I'm pretty sure people were wearing All Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter, that type of shit. And at the time, Sydney kind of said, like, look, it was a family event, you don't get to choose your family. And I totally get that. We all have family members whose political beliefs we don't agree with, right? But I don't know, it was still just her involvement with that, organizing that party. I feel like she might have organized the hats at least. Like, we all gave her a bit of benefit of doubt, but I think there was definitely always that niggling suspicion in the back of everyone's minds. So yeah, I mean, disappointing but not surprised. Of course, this news was not disappointing to Donald Trump. He took to Truth Social on the 4th of August and released a statement that reads, "Sydney Sweeney, a registered Republican, has the hottest ad out there. It's for American Eagle and the jeans are flying off the shelves. Go get 'em, Sydney." On the other side of the ledger, Jaguar did that stupid and seriously woke advertisement that is a disaster. The CEO just resigned, the company is in turmoil. Shouldn't they have learned a lesson from Bud Light, which went woke and essentially destroyed in a short but very woke campaign the company? The market cap destruction has been unprecedented. Billions of dollars lost. Or just look at woke singer Taylor Swift. Ever since I alerted the world as to what she was by saying on Truth that I can't stand her. First of all, I feel like Taylor Swift is going so strong. Second of all, the same people who are like, oh, the left is crying about a jeans ad, were the same people that were crying about the Bud Light ad. So anyway, it would be funny if he wasn't the president, right? I feel like if I had $1 for every time I said that, my goodness. There were also a couple of copycat ads trying to get in on this jeans buzz. There was the Dunkin' Donuts ad with Gavin Casaleño. He plays Jeremiah Fisher in The Summer I Turned Pretty, which, by the way, do not get it twisted. Just because I am a Jeremiah Fisher apologist, do not think that means I am a fan of Gavin Casaleño, because you could not be more wrong. I absolutely do not like this man. Anyway, he does the ad with Dunkin' Donuts. He says, "This tan, it's genetics. Just got my color analysis back. I'm a golden summer." The line feels very clunky and out of speed with what the rest of the ad is saying, which is kind of all about, you know, he's drinking the Dunkin' golden hour refresher drink and he's also enjoying the golden hour of the sun, right? And being the king of summer, which fits in well with his role in The Summer I Turned Pretty. But like the jeans line, it truly, the whole ad, actually, go watch it. The whole ad, everything he's saying just doesn't quite make sense. So I have a feeling that they had this ad planned out and then were like, oh, there's all this hype with genetics, let's chuck in that random line, and it just threw off the entire script. Now, I don't know what Duncan was going for here. I've seen people saying like, oh, they're trying to mock the ad, you know, they're making fun of it because like, why would you ever make an ad like that? And maybe that's what's going on here. But why would they decide to do this with another Republican? Because yes, that is right, Gavin Casaleño is a Republican and a very religious one at that. You know, is the messaging if they're like, hee, look, we're so ironic, we're making fun of them, but we're also featuring another Republican. So I don't know. And of course there were also reactions from different celebrities. Lizzo posted a very funny meme of her dressed in double denim like Sydney is in the video, and the photo of her is captioned, "If Democrats had won the election," and then she also says, "My jeans are black." And Doja Cat also posted a TikTok where she's kind of mocking the way that Sydney spoke in that ad, and she's like, "Jeans are passed down from parents to offspring." Yeah, super funny stuff. So I don't know, let me know what your thoughts are on this. I feel like we already knew we were living in pre-World War II type of times, but I guess this is just further cementing that. So at this point I don't even really know whether to like laugh or cry at how unsubtle the messaging is. Now, speaking of Doja Cat, let's talk about her reuniting with a fan that she had former beef with. We love to see a resolved feud. I've said this before, even though this is Mood for Feud, we are also always in the mood for feuds being resolved. This feud kind of dates back to earlier in the year when a video started circulating of Pablo Tamayo. He has 500,000 followers on TikTok, and he also has his own business where he sells print tees and singlets and jewelry and stuff. And in this video, Pablo is meeting Doja Cat. He is wearing a singlet from his Pride collection that says "Hot Boys Kiss Boys," and the video starts with Pablo saying, "I'm going to give my shirt to Doja Cat because she's the iconic it girl." And so he proceeds to take the shirt off his back, give it to her. He's telling her that if she ever needs anything from his store, like, she is sorted, and they're hugging. He gives her a kiss on the cheek, and you know, Pablo is definitely leading this interaction, which kind of makes sense because like, he's going to be more excited to be meeting Doja than Doja is to be meeting a random fan. Like, he is making the first move to like like open his arms up, for her to hug. He leans in for the cheek kiss. But I feel like on the video, it does seem like Doja is like going along with the interaction as well. And from an outside perspective, or from my perspective at least, it looked like a wholesome interaction. The video ends with Doja saying, "You smell great, by the way," and then Pablo wishes her a nice rest of her night, and she blows him a kiss, and then that's that. Cute video. Obviously, Pablo, being a TikToker, uploads that shit immediately. What good clout, but also like what good advertising for his business. Now, shortly after that, Doja Cat then took to Twitter and had some things to say about the interaction. Doja tweeted, "Bottom line is, I'll smile at you, but it doesn't mean I fuck with you. And don't touch me and manhandle me when you don't even fucking know me. If you know, you know. I honestly think I need to stand up for myself in the moment sometimes. And he didn't even know my fucking name. To be touching me and kissing me on my face like that is crazy. I threw that musty shirt away, by the way." So the reason she says that he didn't know her name is because he asked her what her actual name is in the video. Obviously her name's not Doja Cat. So she felt like that was really disingenuous for him to be like, "I'm your biggest fan," but not know her government name. And then fans also ask for more context to what she's saying, because on the clip she did look comfortable, and like I said, it looked like a wholesome interaction where she was definitely like reciprocating the energy he was putting out there. And Doja says, "I was very drunk, I don't know what to tell you." Another fan asks Doja, "Girl, I thought you said he smelled good." And Doja says, "He did, but I don't like how comfortable he was touching me and kissing me without asking permission." So after these tweets came out from Doja, Pablo then went on TikTok, or maybe it was Instagram stories, and he made a response saying it was never his intention to make Doja feel uncomfortable, and he alleges that Doja approached him and complimented him on his singlet, and that's when he explained he makes clothes, and she said she wanted the shirt, and that's how the video started. That's why it starts with, "I'm giving Doja Cat my shirt," because she's iconic. Now, I will say on the original video of them interacting, there were actually a few comments from people saying they thought Doja looked uncomfortable, and these came out before her tweets. So I do want to know, what did you guys think when that video first came out? Because, maybe she looks a little bit awkward, but also who wouldn't when they're meeting a complete stranger? But again, to me, I didn't think she looked that uncomfortable, but then also I'm kind of bad at reading social cues sometimes, so I don't know. Would I personally have been as touchy with Doja Cat, or any celeb for that matter? No. And this is because, that familiarity that we feel for celebrities, we have to remember that even though we've seen so many photos of them, we've seen so many videos of them, and they feel like someone that we know, this is actually the first time that they are meeting you. So I think it's important when you meet a celebrity to keep in mind that it's not a two-way interaction. Like, this is the first time they're seeing your face. This is the first time they know about your existence. And so I personally would not have been this forward, or as forward as Pablo, but that's also just my personality. And so maybe I kind of can see how Pablo was a little bit too forward in that interaction. And, if he'd done that with any other, he probably wouldn't act that way towards another stranger that's not a celebrity. So maybe good learning lesson for Pablo to be mindful. I did see comments of people saying, "Oh, if she hated the interaction so much, why is she smiling throughout the video?" And I don't know, I've been in situations where I've been uncomfortable with someone touching me, and when I tell you, you wouldn't know. You would not know, especially if there's a camera rolling. It does put me into this performative state where I feel like I can't show my genuine reaction. And so even though I'm uncomfortable, in my mind, the least awkward thing to do in that situation to diffuse the awkward vibes is to just go along with it and be like, haha, yay, all good, and smile, right? So I don't think someone smiling is necessarily an indication that they are fine, or they are happy, or they're not uncomfortable. Did she have to put him publicly on blast though, and then call him musty? I don't know. I feel like there are better ways that she could have handled this miscommunication, because again, I don't think Pablo intentionally made her uncomfortable. I think he was overexcited and then maybe misread the vibes, or maybe even in the moment she felt okay, and then she reflected on it after walking away and was like, "Oh, actually that was a bit much. I wish he hadn't been that touchy." And both of those things in my mind are okay. Now, after all of this went viral and blew up, Pablo did cash in on the attention and made a t-shirt saying musty ass shirts, which is a bit cheeky because it kind of shows he didn't take Doja's discomfort seriously. But, you know, at the same time, as a small business owner, you are going to capitalize off a moment like that. So anyway, all of that took place earlier this year. And then just a few days ago, Pablo was actually invited as a VIP to attend Doja's headlining set at Outside Lands. And he says he was invited by Doja Cat, which, you know, obviously that's super wholesome. They get to clear things up. Now, Pablo did get to go backstage and he filmed a TikTok with Doja, which I will play.
How do I smell?
You smell amazing.
No, actually, like, we need this, like...
Oh, well, you smell good.
You're like, I wouldn't say amazing, but... You smell amazing, and I now know your name is Ami. I'm, like, obsessed with your name.
And that's fine, and you didn't need to know.
No, but I should have known, because, like, you're that
You
girl.
should not have
yes.
known.
No, my
You
God.
should not have
Wait,
known.
can I be honest?
Yes.
Did you actually throw that musty shirt away?
I don't know.
No.
So yeah, super wholesome. They cleared up the awkward tensions with the musty t-shirt and him not knowing her name, and it seems like everything's chill. So I am really happy for this outcome. And, you know, like I said, even though I'm mood for Feud, I'm also mood for Feuds getting resolved. And I think it is nice because I was really on like both of their sides. Like I felt like Pablo was not intentionally being creepy, but then I also felt like Doja Cat had the right to feel like that interaction was inappropriate, and then I felt like both of them handled things badly. Yeah, anyway, wholesome outcome. Okay, next I want to talk about Demi being in their comeback era. Now on July 30, Demi revisited the yogurt shop, The Big Chill, which they had originally criticized back in 2021 for having guilt-free, sugar-free cookies, and, you know, Demi had kind of said to them that their shop wasn't friendly for people who had experienced or were experiencing an eating disorder, and Demi kind of just called them out because they felt like the shop's messaging was bad with all the sugar-free, guilt-free, eat this without feeling guilty, which, you know, can be a bit triggering for someone who's had an ED. Now, I will say the way that Demi went about this criticism was definitely not great, and they did receive a lot of backlash because people felt like they were being unfair and also just unnecessarily using their massive platform to criticize a small business. And we did get a clip from Demi's apology video following this controversy where they, you know, I didn't get the yogurt that I wanted. I'll play it. It's so funny.
This is something that will be with me for the rest of my life. I left that yogurt store and didn't get the yogurt that I wanted. And then I had a hard time the rest of the weekend.
Anywho, July 30, Demi used that viral sound in a TikTok, and it shows them eating yogurt at the Big Chill, and they made another TikTok where it's that trend where it's like, you look happier, thanks, I finally got the yogurt I wanted. And it was just a really nice full circle moment. And Demi also announced around the same time that they had new music coming out. So iconic. I was so here for it. I screamed when I saw Demi at the Big Chill yogurt shop. It's just so iconic. And, you know, it is one of those videos that was super controversial in 2021 and people had all this crap to say about it. But it has since turned into a joke and like kind of been something that people were laughing about. And I'm just glad that Demi is showing that they are also in on the joke. Like they are also, you know, laughing about that. Because to be fair, like I kind of get what they're saying. Like I feel like if they'd made a broader statement in 2021 on diet culture in general and not focused it in on this one specific small yogurt shop business, I feel like people would have actually been like, hell yeah, what you're saying makes sense. Because, you know, we shouldn't be labeling food as guilt-free. We shouldn't be hyperfixating, you know, or even associating the feeling of guilt with food. But I feel like they did go about it in such the wrong way by criticizing this one business when the reality is that it's a criticism for the entire food industry, right? And for for society as a whole. I'm so glad that they revisited and patched things up, and I love it. And then just yesterday, Demi joined the Jonas Brothers during their New Jersey concert at the MetLife Stadium. Why did I get so emotional seeing Demi with Joe Jonas again? It was like tugging at my 11-year-old heartstrings. I don't know. So at the concert, the Jonas Brothers were playing like a montage of clips from the movie Camp Rock, and, you know, already the crowd was like, fuck yeah, Camp Rock, who doesn't love that movie? And then Joe announces, ladies and gentlemen, Demi Lovato. And the screams are deafening, and when I tell you, if I was there, I would have shat my pants. Like, oh my gosh, it was so iconic. I keep saying that word, but like that is truly how I felt about this moment, right? It's just like seeing Demi Lovato and Joe Jonas and the other Jonas brothers, of course, as well, and just thinking about how long ago they were in each other's lives and just everything that they've all gone through in the public eye, and then seeing them together again and performing the songs This Is Me and Wouldn't Change a Thing. Oh my gosh. I was emotional, and I'm getting emotional now, and I wasn't even there. And just know that if you were at that concert, I will be jealous of you for the rest of my life. That is such a sick moment that you got to see, and I hope that you are so grateful. Like, I hope you know how important that is, that you got to see that. It was a very much needed feel-good moment, but I am so here for Demi Lovato to be relevant again. Like, I'm really ready for her new music. I'm ready for her to be in the pop culture zeitgeist, and I've missed them. I've missed Demi. I've missed their music. Welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. Maybe a bit of a hot take. I don't actually think they should do a Camp Rock 3. And this is because as I was watching that montage of the Camp Rock clips that the Jonas Brothers played, I was actually realizing that the movies are perfect and they don't need to do a reboot. Like, it's the same with High School Musical, right? Like, I never want a High School Musical 4. I don't need it in my life. The movies are already perfect. You don't need to do anything more. But having them perform the songs together, like, hell yeah, get Vanessa and Zach on a stage performing Breaking Free. I'm here for it, you know? This is the type of reboot that I want. I don't need a whole movie. I just need them singing and performing. All right, last couple of things and then we can wrap up. I have a new favorite old people couple. Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson. They were filming The Naked Gun together and they sparked up a romance. They've been doing the cutest press tour that anyone has ever seen, talking about how they instantly had a connection when they met. Liam Neeson has said that he was just taken away with how beautiful Pamela Anderson is when she first walked into the room. And Pamela has talked about how Liam just made her feel so at ease and she was so nervous going on set and meeting everyone, but he was just goofing around with her and being silly. And oh my gosh, they are such a cute couple. And I don't care the haters saying, oh, it's PR for The Naked Gun. I don't care. It's real to me, okay? In my mind, it's real, and I hope it is real to them as well. I'm also, people said similar things when my former favorite old people couple, which was of course Martin Short and Meryl Streep, who starred in Only Murders in the Building together, people said the same thing about them, and my response now is the same thing as it was back then as well. I don't think the iconic Liam Neeson and the bombshell Pamela Anderson have to stoop to PR relationship. Like, I don't think they have to do that. I think they're past that. I think that they are legacy actors. People will be talking about them for generations to come. They don't need to be doing all that, So in my mind, it's real. And yeah, I love it. I love when old people are in love. Like, oh, what a beautiful thing. I love this new thing of, like, your life doesn't end at 70, You can still find love. You can have a new relationship. You can, if you're Meryl Streep and Martin Short, you can have a paparazzi kiss in the car photo. I love it. I wish them nothing but the best. And yeah, I hope we get more clips of them talking about their relationship because it's been really cute. And the last thing I want to say before we finish up is it is, of course, a good news day for the Swifties. Taylor Swift announced the new album, The Life of a Showgirl, on Travis and Jason Kelce's podcast, New Heights. And yay, good for the Swifties. I'm so happy for you guys. Meanwhile, I'm still waiting for Lana Del Rey's new album, which was a country album and is now a gothic country album and is now apparently just never coming out. But anywho, pop off. Glad you guys get more music. Hope you enjoy. Happy for you. Love that for you. And meanwhile, us Lana girlies can just stay impatient. God, I hope that Lana's new album doesn't have weird Republican messaging in it. That is my only hope. But yeah, guys, look, enjoy The Life of a Showgirl. I myself probably won't listen. Well, I say that, but every single song's gonna trend on TikTok, isn't it? So I feel like I'm going to listen by osmosis. But yeah, let me know if it's good. Let me know if it's a top 3 album. Orange is the important color for the life of a showgirl, so get some orange clothing and have fun. I'm trying not to be too much of a jealous hater, but I am a bit like that you guys got your new album before I did. But anyway, it's fine, just vote. If you know what that reference is, you need to touch grass. This is your sign to go touch grass. Okay, I need to wrap this up. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to rate and review the podcast if you enjoy the show, and feel free to leave a written review or comment. I love my words of affirmation. And you can connect with me on socials at Mood for Feud. If you want to buy me a coffee, I have a link in the show notes, and all funds will go towards upgrading my podcast gear. I hope everyone is crushing their goals this week, and of course, keeping out of trouble. Don't get into any feuds, and I will talk to you all next week. Bye!